Captain Henry Miller stood on the bridge of the EDF Defender, his eyes fixed on the massive alien ship that had appeared in Earth orbit just hours ago. After decades of searching the stars for signs of intelligent life, the aliens had found humanity instead. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Earth Command," said Lieutenant Nancy Bell. "The alien vessel has identified itself as a diplomatic ship from something called the Galactic Council. They're requesting a formal meeting with Earth representatives." Miller nodded. "So it begins." His grip tightened on the railing. Humanity had only established its first colonies beyond the solar system 5 years ago. Now they faced something much bigger than themselves. In the United Nations Assembly Hall in New York, Lisa Warren adjusted her formal diplomatic uniform. As Earth's newly appointed ambassador to extraterrestrial life, she never expected her first assignment would come so soon. "Ambassador, they're ready for you," a young aide informed her. Lisa took a deep breath. "Show them in." The doors opened to reveal the most diverse collection of beings humanity had ever seen. 6 different alien species entered the hall, led by a tall, blue-skinned humanoid with 4 arms and silvery eyes. "I am High Counselor Vrax of the Xelarian Dominion, senior representative of the Galactic Council," the alien announced in perfect English. "We have monitored your civilization's development and recent expansion beyond your home system." Lisa stepped forward. "On behalf of Earth and all human colonies, I welcome you to our world. We look forward to peaceful relations and cultural exchange." Vrax's expression remained unchanged. "Your optimism is noted, Ambassador Warren. However, this is not merely a courtesy call. Your species has unknowingly violated several Council protocols by establishing colonies without proper authorization." Murmurs spread through the human delegates. "With respect, Counselor," Lisa responded, "we were unaware of any galactic authority. We cannot be held responsible for rules we didn't know existed." A smaller alien with green, scale-like skin stepped forward. "This is why primitive species should be contained until properly evaluated. The humans clearly lack the maturity for interstellar presence." Lisa felt her face flush, but maintained her composure. Only one alien, a golden-furred being with large eyes, showed any sympathy. "I am Ambassador Kor of the Tellurian Republic. Perhaps we should explain the situation more clearly. The Council has governed interstellar affairs for over 2,000 years. All spacefaring species must apply for membership and adhere to expansion regulations. And if we were unaware of these regulations?" asked Lisa. Vrax's 4 hands clasped together. "Ignorance is not an acceptable excuse. Furthermore, your colonies have been established in a sector with significant strategic importance to Council operations. Over the next 3 hours, the Council representatives outlined their demands. Humanity must halt all further colonization, submit to Council authority, and pay reparations for their illegal settlements." When the alien delegation departed, Earth's leadership gathered in an emergency session. "They're not looking for diplomatic relations," Lisa explained to the assembled leaders. "This is an ultimatum disguised as diplomacy." General Frank Wilson frowned. "Their ships outclass ours by centuries. We don't have the military option." "They've given us 1 Earth year to comply," Lisa noted. "That gives us time to consider our options." President Ellen Rice stood up. "We won't surrender our independence or our colonies. If diplomacy is being used as a weapon against us, perhaps we need a different approach." 2 days later, Captain Miller received new orders. His ship would join a special task force to gather intelligence on this Galactic Council. "What do you think, Captain?" Lieutenant Bell asked as they prepared to depart Earth orbit. Miller watched as the massive Council ship activated some kind of faster-than-light drive and vanished. "I think," he said slowly, "that they expected us to be intimidated. If there's one thing humans don't respond well to, it's bullies, even ones from across the galaxy." As the Defender broke orbit, humanity began preparing its response to the stars. They had 1 year to find a way to stand up to the oldest power in the known galaxy. 6 months had passed since the Galactic Council delivered their ultimatum to Earth. In a secure underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Alan Foster rubbed his tired eyes as he studied alien language patterns on his screen. "I think I found something," he said to the empty room. He pressed a button on his desk. "Major Clark, could you come to my office? I have important news." Major Susan Clark arrived 15 minutes later. Her uniform was wrinkled, and dark circles hung under her eyes. Like everyone working on the council assessment project, she had been working almost nonstop. "What have you got, Alan?" she asked. Dr. Foster pointed to his screen. "I've been analyzing all the council transmissions we've intercepted. Their official messages are perfectly translated, but their internal communications tell a different story." He pulled up several documents. "They're not as united as they want us to believe. There are at least 3 major factions constantly arguing with each other." Susan leaned closer. "Can this help us?" "Maybe," Alan replied. "But we need more information from inside council space." 2 weeks later, Major Clark led a small team aboard a modified transport ship. Earth had learned that many non-council species traded at a station called Gateway Hub. With disguises and forged documents, they might gather crucial intelligence there. The alien station was enormous. Thousands of beings from dozens of species moved through its crowded corridors. Susan's team split up, each member seeking different information. In a dimly lit bar, Susan met with a 4-armed trader who needed human medicines. In exchange, he shared valuable information. Council not strong as before, the alien told her in broken English. Many fights about resources, about who controls what space. Big species push small species. Some talk about leaving council. Susan recorded everything. What about Earth? Why did they approach us with demands instead of proper diplomacy? The alien's upper arms made a shrugging motion. "Your world sits on valuable jump point. Many hyperspace lanes cross near Earth space. Very valuable. Council wants control." When Susan's team returned to Earth, they brought back data that changed everything. Dr. Olivia Martinez, Earth's leading physicist, studied the information on Council faster than light travel. Their entire interstellar civilization depends on these fixed hyperspace lanes, she explained to President Reyes and her advisors. "It's like a highway system that only follows certain routes. But I think there's another approach to FTL travel that doesn't use their network at all." General Frank Wilson looked skeptical. "Can we develop this technology in 6 months? That's all the time we have left." Dr. Martinez nodded. "With the data Major Clark brought back, I believe we can. It won't be as fast as their system, but it would give us independence from their control." President Reyes stood and walked to the window, looking out at the snow-covered mountains. "So the Council isn't approaching us out of protocol or concern. They want our strategic location and resources." "That's correct, Madam President," Susan confirmed. "And from what we've learned, they're used to species simply surrendering to their demands. They don't expect resistance." "Then we'll give them something unexpected," the President said. "I'm forming a strategic response committee, led by General Wilson. We have 6 months to prepare our answer to the Council." As everyone filed out of the room, Ambassador Lisa Warren stayed behind. "Madam President, what exactly are you planning?" President Reyes smiled slightly. "The Council is using diplomacy as a weapon against us. Perhaps it's time to show them that humans can be creative with diplomacy too." Across Earth and its colonies, preparations began. Scientists worked on the new FTL technology. Military forces trained and prepared defensive positions, and in secret facilities, intelligence officers studied every piece of information about the Council's internal politics. The countdown to humanity's response had begun. In 6 months, the galaxy would learn that humans didn't follow anyone else's rules. The 1-year deadline had arrived. In the same United Nations hall where they first met, the Galactic Council representatives waited for Earth's answer to their demands. High Counselor Vrax sat in the center, his 4 blue arms folded across his chest. Ambassador Lisa Warren entered the room with a small team. She carried a single digital tablet and wore a calm expression that revealed nothing. "Ambassador Warren," Vrax said with a slight nod, "we trust you bring news of Earth's compliance with Council directives." Lisa took her place at the podium and looked around at the alien delegation. "High Counselor, distinguished representatives of the Galactic Council, Earth has carefully considered your terms over the past year." The room fell silent. Even the human journalists and officials held their breath. "Humanity neither accepts nor rejects your terms," Lisa said clearly. Murmurs broke out among the council representatives. Vrax's silvery eyes narrowed. "Explain yourself, Ambassador. This is not one of the options we presented." Lisa smiled slightly. "That's correct. Instead, Earth is officially shutting down diplomatic channels with the Galactic Council until you are prepared to negotiate in good faith." She tapped her tablet, and screens around the room lit up with information. "Over the past year, we have learned much about the Council. We know that your interest in Earth has nothing to do with protocols or regulations. Our world sits at a valuable hyperspace crossroads that several Council species wish to control." The green-scaled alien who had called humans primitive a year ago stood up angrily. "This is outrageous. You dare to accuse." "We dare to speak truth," Lisa interrupted. "We have records of private Council communications regarding Earth's strategic value. We have evidence of the Council's history of forcing smaller species into unfavorable agreements." Lisa tapped her tablet again, sending more documents to the screens. "We have also documented 17 cases of Council corruption, 32 violations of your own charter regarding species rights, and evidence that the Council routinely favors the interests of founding species over newer members." Kor, the golden-furred Tellurian who had shown sympathy before, looked troubled as he reviewed the documents. Several other Council members whispered to each other urgently. "Earth does not recognize the Council's authority over our people or our colonies," Lisa continued. "We will not participate in a corrupt system that exists to exploit rather than unite. When the Council is ready to discuss fair terms that respect our sovereignty, we will listen. Until then, all diplomatic relations are suspended." She placed a small device on the table. "This contains all the evidence we've gathered, including records of private Council deliberations about using military force if diplomacy failed. We've transmitted copies to every species in Council space, member or not." Vrax rose to his full height, his blue skin darkening with anger. "You make a grave mistake, human. The Council has stood for thousands of years. Your primitive world cannot stand against us." Lisa met his gaze without flinching. "We don't need to stand against you, Counselor. Your own internal divisions will do that for us." As if on cue, arguments broke out among the Council representatives. The Tellurian Corps openly accused the Xilarians of manipulating Council policy. Two smaller species representatives demanded investigations into the evidence. Lisa and her team walked out as the Council chamber fell into chaos. Outside, President Reyes waited for her report. "It's done," Lisa said. "We've thrown a rock into their carefully arranged system." "And the backup plan?" the President asked. "In place. Dr. Martinez's alternative FTL drive is ready if we need it, and our new friends among the smaller Council species are already spreading our message." Across the galaxy, news of the human response spread rapidly. On dozens of worlds, beings watched recordings of the meeting and studied the evidence Earth had provided. Council representatives received urgent messages from their governments. The perfect order of the Galactic Council had begun to crack, and humanity had only just started. 3 months after Earth shut down diplomatic channels, Jack Peterson sat in a small cafe on Outreach Station, a neutral trading post near the edge of Council space. As a human observer, his job was to watch and report on alien reactions to Earth's bold move. He sipped a drink that tasted almost like coffee while listening to 2 alien merchants at the next table. 7 species have now suspended their Council membership," said the first alien, a tall being with purple skin. "The Tellurians were the first, but now even the Drovians have pulled out. They've been members for 600 years. The second merchant, a six-legged insectoid, clicked its mandibles. Trade routes are disrupted all across the rim sectors. My last shipment was stopped 3 times for special inspection because I had visited human space. Jack recorded the conversation discreetly. Across the station, 5 other human observers were doing the same, gathering intelligence on the Council's fracturing unity. Back on Earth, Director Patricia Summers reviewed the latest reports in the Underground Command Center. The Council has split into 3 main factions, she explained to President Reyes and her advisors. The Solarians and their closest allies want immediate military action against us. The moderate faction, led by the Tellurians, is pushing for council reform. And a third opportunistic group is trying to play both sides while making private deals. General Wilson nodded. Our strategy is working better than we hoped. By revealing their corruption, we've accelerated divisions that were already there. What about the military threat? President Reyes asked. The Solarians still command the largest fleet in known space. We've been working on that, said Dr. Martinez, entering the room with a tablet full of data. Our alternative FTL drive is now operational. It's different from their hyperspace lanes. We can go where they don't expect us. On the display screen, a map showed the complex network of Council hyperspace routes, with Earth marked in blue. They expect us to be trapped here, Martinez continued. But our ships can move between stars without using their lanes. It gives us a tactical advantage they won't anticipate. President Reyes studied the map. And our diplomatic efforts. Ambassador Warren stepped forward. 17 former Council species have made private contact, interested in talks. The Tellurians have been especially helpful, sharing detailed information about Council military capabilities. We should proceed carefully, warned General Wilson. The Solarians won't accept this challenge to their power. They've ruled the Council for too long. On Harmonia, the capital world of the Galactic Council, High Counselor Vrax faced growing opposition. The Grand Council Chamber, once a place of order and ceremony, now echoed with shouted accusations and demands. The humans have made fools of us all, shouted a Solarian general. We should crush their worlds now, before more species follow their example. Ambassador Core of the Tellurians stood in opposition. The humans merely exposed what many of us have known for centuries. This council no longer serves all species equally. We need reform, not war. Representatives from smaller species, once silent in fear of the powerful founding members, now openly called for investigations and new leadership. In his private chambers, Vrax consulted with his closest allies. The human defiance cannot stand. If we allow them to break from council authority, others will follow. An aide entered with news. High Counselor, the Artosian Republic has just announced they're leaving the council. That's the 8th species to suspend membership. Vrax's 4 fists clenched in anger. Prepare a military response. The humans have played their diplomatic games long enough. Across the galaxy, the carefully maintained balance of power continued to shift. On Earth, humanity prepared for the next phase of their plan, knowing that the diplomatic shutdown was only the beginning of a dangerous game that would reshape galactic politics forever. The emergency alarms woke Governor Paul Harris from a deep sleep. He grabbed his comm unit as he jumped out of bed. Report, he ordered. Sir, we have 23 alien vessels entering the new Dakota system, his security chief replied. They've ignored all hails and are on direct approach to the colony. Harris dressed quickly as he issued orders. Evacuate the outer settlements, move everyone to the underground shelters, and get me Earth Command immediately. In orbit above New Dakota, Lieutenant Samantha Wright stood on the bridge of the EDF Valiant. Her small fleet of 6 ships was all that stood between the colony and the approaching Solarian warships. They're hailing us now, her communications officer reported. The main screen showed a blue-skinned Solarian commander. This is Enforcement Captain Drex of the Galactic Council. Your colony is in violation of Council law. Surrender now or be removed. Samantha straightened her uniform. "This is Lieutenant Wright of Earth Defense. You have entered human space without permission. We recognize no council authority here. Withdraw immediately." The Xilarian captain laughed. "Your primitive ships cannot stand against us. This is not a negotiation." The transmission ended, and the Xilarian ships moved forward. "All ships, defensive formation," Samantha ordered. "Remember your training. They expect us to follow standard tactics. We won't." The battle began, and as predicted, the human ships were outgunned. But they had trained for this moment. Instead of meeting the Xilarians head-on, the Earth ships executed unexpected maneuvers, separating the alien formation and using the planet's moon for cover. On Earth, Admiral Richard Green monitored the situation from command headquarters. "New Dakota is under attack," he informed President Reyes. "Wright's fleet is executing delay tactics, but they're outnumbered. How soon can our main fleet arrive?" the President asked. "That's the good news," Green replied with a slight smile. "Thanks to Dr. Martinez's new drive, we're already in position." At his command, 40 Earth ships emerged from FTL travel at carefully calculated points around the New Dakota system. The Xilarians, focused on the colony and Wright's small fleet, were completely surprised. "All ships, execute Operation Slingshot," Admiral Green ordered. The Earth fleet moved with precision that shocked the Xilarian commanders. Using their new FTL technology, Earth ships would appear, fire, and then jump to new positions before the Xilarians could target them. On the colony surface, Governor Harris watched the battle through the planetary defense system sensors. "They're retreating," he told the colonists huddled in the shelters. "Our ships are driving them back." In space, the Xilarian commander faced a humiliating choice. 3 of his vessels were disabled, and the rest were taking heavy damage from enemies they couldn't effectively target. "Fall back," he finally ordered. "Retreat to Council space." As the Xilarian ships fled, cheers erupted throughout the Earth fleet. Lieutenant Wright allowed herself a small smile as she contacted Admiral Green. "Sir, New Dakota is secure. The enemy is retreating." "Well done, Lieutenant," Green replied. "Stay alert. This was just their first attempt." News of the battle spread quickly. Within days, every world in known space had heard how the primitive humans had defeated a Xilarian battle group. The political impact was immediate and dramatic. On Harmonia, the council chamber was in an uproar. Multiple species formally condemned the Xilarian attack. Even some traditional Xilarian allies distanced themselves from the failed military action. "You acted without council approval," accused a Tellurian representative. "This illegal aggression cannot stand." High Councilor Vrax struggled to maintain control as the council officially splintered into 3 competing power blocks, each with their own agenda. Back on Earth, President Reyes addressed the global audience. "Today, we showed the galaxy that humanity will defend itself. But our goal is not conflict. We seek a just and equal relationship among all species." As she spoke, Earth's diplomats prepared for the next phase of their plan. The Xilarian defeat had created an opportunity they intended to use. 1 year after shutting down diplomacy with the Galactic Council, humanity was ready to make its next move. In the Grand Hall of the United Nations building in Geneva, representatives from Earth and its colonies gathered alongside delegates from 17 alien species. Ambassador Lisa Warren took the podium, looking out at the diverse gathering. Many of these aliens had been council members just months before. "Today marks a new beginning for interstellar relations," she announced. "Earth formally proposes the creation of the Mutual Cooperation Treaty, an alliance based on principles of fairness, respect, and mutual benefit." She gestured to the document displayed on screens around the room. "Unlike the Council's system of dominant species and subordinate members, our treaty offers equal standing to all signatories. No species will control another. Resources will be shared based on contribution, not historical power." The alien delegates murmured among themselves. A representative of the Tellurians stood up. "After centuries under Council rule, my government welcomes this approach," he said. "The Tellurian Republic will be the first to sign your treaty." One by one, other representatives indicated their interest. Species that had felt ignored or exploited by the Council saw a chance for something better. On Harmonia, the Council's capital world, High Councillor Vrax received the news with growing anger. They dared to form a competing alliance. He demanded of his advisors. After their military aggression against our enforcement fleet, an aide cleared her throat nervously. "High Councillor, our intelligence indicates that 14 former council members have already decided to join the human treaty. 3 more are likely to follow. Impose sanctions against any who join," Vrax ordered. "Cut them off from council trade routes and resources." But the council's power was not what it once was. With their alternative FTL technology, humans and their new allies established trade routes that bypassed council-controlled hyperspace lanes. The sanctions proved largely ineffective. On Earth, Carol Davis led the human delegation at the first Cooperation Summit, where the practical details of the new alliance took shape. "Our scientists have agreed to share the new FTL drive technology with all treaty members," she told the delegates. "This will free us all from dependence on the Council's hyperspace network." A reptilian delegate raised a clawed hand. "My species has always paid heavy fees to use Council lanes. What will you ask in payment for this technology?" Carol smiled. "Nothing beyond the treaty commitments you've already made. This alliance is built on mutual benefit, not exploitation. Your scientists will work alongside ours to improve the technology further." This approach shocked many who were used to the Council's transactional policies. Word spread through countless worlds that humans dealt differently than the dominant Council species. In the following weeks, trade between treaty worlds increased by 200%. Species that had rarely interacted under Council restrictions now found common interests and complementary resources. Governor Paul Harris of New Dakota welcomed the first alien settlers to his colony, families from treaty worlds seeking new opportunities. "My ancestors came to this colony looking for a fresh start," he told the new arrivals. "I'm proud that we can offer the same to you." The Council struggled to respond effectively. Their once unified voice was now 3 competing factions, each with different approaches to the human challenge. "We should negotiate with them," argued the moderate faction. "We should crush them completely," countered the Accelerian hardliners. "We should wait and see which side prevails," suggested the opportunists. As the Council debated, the new alliance grew stronger. Human diplomatic teams visited dozens of worlds, always with the same message: cooperation instead of domination, equality instead of hierarchy. In her private office, Ambassador Warren reviewed reports from across the galaxy with satisfaction. 1 year ago, they thought we would submit like all the others. Now they're scrambling to respond to our alternative. President Reyes nodded. "And the Accelerians? Still dangerous," Warren admitted. "They've lost face and power. That makes them unpredictable." As if confirming her words, reports arrived of Accelerian forces mobilizing near key trade junctions. The next phase of the galactic power shift was about to begin. Daniel Phillips ducked as another explosion rocked the building. From his window in the Earth observation post on Harmonia, he could see fires spreading across the Council's capital city. What had begun as political disagreements had erupted into open conflict. "All Earth personnel, evacuate immediately," came the order through his comm unit. "Council civil war has officially begun." "Repeat, Council civil war has officially begun." Daniel grabbed his emergency pack and the data drives containing his reports. As Earth's diplomatic observer, he had watched the Council's final collapse from the inside. It had started 3 days ago when the Accelerians attempted to seize control of key hyperspace junctions. Their goal was simple: cut off the emerging human-led alliance from vital trade routes and resources. But the moderate Council factions had opposed this move, leading to the first armed confrontation between Council members in over 1,000 years. Now the Council's once proud peacekeeping fleet had splintered along factional lines. Ships that had patrolled together for centuries now fired upon each other. On Earth, President Reyes addressed an emergency meeting of the Mutual Cooperation Treaty members. Representatives from 24 species attended, either in person or via secure communications. Earth will maintain official neutrality in this conflict, she declared. Our focus will be humanitarian aid to affected worlds and protecting innocent civilians of all species. Ambassador Kor of the Tellurians nodded in agreement. The treaty worlds should stand together in this, not as combatants, but as a stable alternative to the chaos the Council has become. The treaty members coordinated their response. While avoiding direct involvement in the Council's internal fighting, they organized to keep neutral shipping lanes open and provide safe havens for refugees. Admiral Richard Green's fleet received new orders. Their primary mission was no longer defense, but rescue and protection of civilian ships caught in the conflict. The Earth Vessel Defender, now under Captain Nancy Bell, who had once served as lieutenant under Henry Miller, responded to a distress call from a civilian station caught between warring Council factions. All hands, prepare for rescue operations, Captain Bell announced. Remember, we're not here to fight unless attacked directly. Our mission is to save lives. The Defender and 2 support ships arrived at the station to find it under bombardment from Silurian cruisers. Using precise maneuvers and their unique FTL capability, the Earth ships created a protective screen around the station. Silurian vessels, this is Captain Bell of Earth Defense. We are conducting humanitarian evacuation of civilians. Stand down your attack. The Silurian commander responded with threats, but hesitated to fire directly on the human ships. The Council civil war had already stretched their forces thin, and they remembered the defeat at New Dakota. While the Silurians debated their response, the Earth ships evacuated over 3,000 civilians from 12 different species. As the last transport cleared the station, the Defender led the evacuation fleet to safety. News of the rescue spread quickly. Other worlds caught in the conflict began calling for human assistance. Species that had once viewed humanity with suspicion now saw them as protectors. On a secret Silurian base, a scientist named Zelax worked frantically on a forbidden weapon. The Silurian High Command, faced with losses on multiple fronts, had authorized deployment of a device that could destroy entire planetary ecosystems. The human alliance must be stopped, his commander told him. This weapon will demonstrate the price of defying the Council's rightful authority. But Zelax had seen the reports of human ships rescuing Silurian civilians alongside other species. The Council he had once believed in was gone, replaced by power-hungry leaders willing to commit atrocities. That night, he copied the weapon plans and fled the base. His destination, human space, where he hoped to warn them of the coming threat. As the Council's civil war spread to more systems, humanity's response was winning them respect and allies. But the Silurians' desperate final gambit would soon force Admiral Green to lead the Alliance into direct conflict after all. 3 years had passed since humanity first shut down diplomacy with the Galactic Council. On the newly constructed space station Unity, representatives from 87 species gathered for a historic moment. Lisa Warren, now serving as Earth's senior ambassador, stood beside leaders from former Council worlds as they signed the charter creating the new Galactic Congress. Let this day mark the beginning of true cooperation among all spacefaring peoples, announced the Tellurian representative. The old Council is officially dissolved. In its place, we establish a Congress where all voices carry equal weight. Applause and various alien expressions of approval filled the great chamber. Many beings present had lived their entire lives under Council rule. Now they were equal partners in a new galactic order. After the Silurian superweapon plot had been exposed and stopped by the combined fleet led by Admiral Green, even the most committed Council loyalists had lost faith in the old system. The final battle had been brief but decisive, with many Silurian ships surrendering rather than fighting for a cause they no longer believed in. In a small garden area of the station designed to accommodate multiple species, Henry Miller, now an admiral himself, shared memories with Captain Nancy Bell. 3 years ago, I watched that first Council ship arrive in Earth orbit, he said. I never imagined we'd end up here. Nancy nodded. They thought we would just submit like everyone else. They didn't understand humans very well. In the Congress chamber, the first major vote took place. 5 beings were selected as Congress coordinators, responsible for implementing the Congress's decisions. Lissa Warren was among them, the first human to hold such a position in galactic governance. I accept this responsibility with humility, she told the assembly. Earth did not set out to reshape galactic politics. We simply stood firm for principles of fairness and respect. Those principles will guide my service to the Congress. On planets throughout known space, beings of all species watched the proceedings. The new Congress had established open communications, allowing citizens to witness governmental decisions rather than having them made in secret as the Council had done. Even on former Council worlds, the changes were welcomed. Trade flourished along new routes. Cultural and scientific exchanges led to breakthroughs benefiting all species. The alternative FTL technology developed by humans had been improved by collaborative research, creating faster and more efficient transportation systems. On Exilarian Colony World, new leadership was rebuilding their society. The military hardliners who had pushed for conflict were gone, replaced by moderates who understood the need for cooperation. We have much to learn from humans, a Exilarian teacher told her young students. They showed us that true strength comes not from domination, but from finding common ground. Back on Unity Station, President Ellen Reyes, now in her final year of office, toured the memorial to those lost in the conflict. Names from dozens of species were recorded there, a reminder of the cost of the transition. We must ensure their sacrifice was not in vain, she said quietly. Dr. Olivia Martinez joined her, carrying plans for the next generation of joint research projects. The scientific cooperation has exceeded all expectations. Solutions we might have taken centuries to discover independently are being developed in years. As the formal ceremonies concluded, beings from across the galaxy mingled freely in Unity's central plaza. Old enemies exchanged ideas and formed new friendships. Species that had rarely interacted under Council rule discovered shared interests. Admiral Miller stood at a viewport, watching ships from countless worlds move smoothly through the traffic patterns around the station. The diversity of designs reflected the unique approaches of each species, now working in harmony. Not bad for a primitive species that didn't know the rules, he said to himself with a small smile. Below him, the Congress chamber doors opened as the first official session ended. Lissa Warren emerged, surrounded by her fellow coordinators, their different forms moving together toward the future they would build, not as rulers and subjects, but as equals in a galaxy forever changed by humanity's simple refusal to submit.